Goat monkey like Fritos. Goat monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Goat monkey, very simple man with big, warm, fuzzy secret heart. Goat monkey like you. Goat monkey like you.
That's the spot. Oh, yeah. Oh, hey. How they hanging? Nope, not how they hanging. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, the Media Raptor, totally not the Digital Raptor. I mean, who's that guy? But he sounds like an awesome game player guy. You should totally go check out his channel, link in the description. But yeah, I'm back. Welcome back to the Media Raptor Reviews, and welcome back to Marvel May 3. And now comes the fun part. Trying to figure out when this movie came out. Oh wow, it's a lot longer than I thought it would be. Anyhow, time to talk about everyone's favorite X-Men movie, X-Men 3: The Last Stand. Who am I kidding? This is no one's favorite X-Men movie. Except mine. Yeah, this is my favorite X-Men movie. Out of the original 3, this is my favorite. I really don't get the hate for it. And you know what? I'm going to prove to you why it's not that bad a movie, and why it's sort of a so bad it's good movie, but it's not really that bad, so it's sort of a good movie, even though there is a lot of things wrong with it. But then again, no movie is perfect, and if this was in 3D, it would be incredibly obnoxious right about now, wouldn't it? I wonder if they do 3D movie reviews. Like, not reviewing 3D movies, but movie reviews filmed in 3D. That'd be cool. Anyhow, let's get to talking about X-Men 3: The Last Stand. So, what's so wrong with the writing? Well, I actually asked around, and I got some pretty fair arguments for it. See, what some people seem to think is wrong with the writing is, namely, the plot. And to be honest, I can see why they'd think that. You see, this movie, it's kind of got the same problem that Batman v Superman had, wherein it's taking more than one amazing comic plot that would do a full movie on its own and trying to cram it in next to, in this case, one other. See, this one has an original plot and is also trying to do one of the most famous X-Men stories there is. The made-up plot is essentially, and I think this is awesome, there is a cure for the mutant gene, derived of a mutant named Leech, whose power is he makes mutants lose their powers. That is cool. That's really cool. I always like that idea of what happens. Like, is it possible to reverse the mutation gene? And if so, who would want to do it? And, well, the military even considers weaponizing this and making it mandatory or shooting mutants. And this isn't really helped when Magneto breaks out of prison again, thanks to some assistance from, the Juggernaut, and a few other new bad guys. But here's where everyone seems to have a problem with this movie. The Dark Phoenix Saga. Now, for those of you who don't know, here's a really brief comic history. You guys, you can crack open your sodas, whatever, it'll be no more than a minute, but I wouldn't recommend going to the bathroom and skipping this part, because this will be important for the rest of the review. See, in the comics, there's a character named Jean Grey. She's had some background appearances in the previous movies, but she was never really the center focus. She is in this one. Her power is a thing called the Phoenix Force, where essentially it depends on if she's going to be good or bad. You'll either get the Phoenix or the Dark Phoenix. Bottom line, the Phoenix has the power to essentially wipe out and kill everything everywhere, if fully unleashed. Now, this leads to an incredibly emotional moment in the comics because, well, Phoenix loves both Cyclops and Wolverine. Now, Wolverine decided that he would let Cyclops have her. Don't totally remember why, but he decided, you know what, just be with him, you'll be happier. And Cyclops dies because of her, both in the comic and in this movie. Yeah, he dies and no one seems to ever mention it. It's really weird when you think about it. But yeah, so Magneto then begins to manipulate Jean into unleashing more of a Dark Phoenix than just a Phoenix, and going and attacking this military base called Stryker's Island. I don't know how much of this was actually in the comic, so I'm just going to kind of be jumping back and forth. Because they want to kill a child. Yeah, they want to kill Leech, who sort of like 7, I'd guess, and looks kind of like Caillou. Anyhow, so there's a huge fight, and both sides, the Brotherhood of Mutants and the X-Men, are forced to throw down. A lot of people die, and finally, Wolverine is forced to kill Jean Grey. He's forced to kill the only woman left who he loves. It's a very emotional moment in the comics, and it's one that had long-lasting impact for years to come. In the movie, it's kind of all said and done in about 7 minutes. I get it. Interpretations, you're trying to tell 2 stories, don't want to take forever on one thing. But here's the problem. See, in the comics, we had a lot of time which would show Jean Grey debating, going back and forth between being good, evil, even just not unleashing the Phoenix to begin with. And this is pretty much, oh, hey, I have this power. Let's kill some people! And then she's totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, so I think if they were just doing the whole Leech, I'm just going to call it the Leech plot. The plot with, like, Leech, because that's what the comics called him. I don't think they really called him anything in this movie that I can remember. But anyhow, if they just did that, and then that was the movie, that would be fine. And then they did another movie, that would be fine. And that was the Dark Phoenix saga, which apparently they're doing now. Hopefully it's better than this. But anyhow, so there's a lot of interesting ideas here with stuff like the whole debate between should we go back to being human or what should we do? And how Magneto, for once, is fully right in thinking we should use these gifts because they were given to us. And it's not right for the people, for humans, to essentially force us to be something we're not. That's kind of a cool idea. And it's kind of sidelined. The whole idea of the Dark Phoenix is one of the greatest ideas in comic history. It's kind of sidelined. See, this movie is, well, how to put it? Hang on. It's just over an hour and a half. See, Batman v Superman was almost 3 hours. Age of Ultron was like 2.5 hours. The Avengers was 2 hours. Logan was like almost 2 hours. See, nowadays, if you're going to tell a big superhero story, you can get away with a longer runtime. Just look at like X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse. They had much longer runtimes and told a much bigger story. And like I said, though, similar with Batman v Superman, this movie's trying to do a whole bunch of storylines at the exact same time. So, yeah, the writing is very flawed. And the weird thing is, quite a few of the characters who had a lot more depth and personality, they kind of seem a little devoid in this movie. Namely Cyclops, and Storm, and Jean Grey. They all had personality, and, well, not Storm, she really didn't throughout any of these movies. That was the actress, not her fault. Not the character's fault, it was the actress's fault. They had a lot of, they had a lot of personality, they had a lot of depth, they had a lot of, like, interesting character traits. In this, it kind of seems like they just threw those all to the side because they felt like it. Now, Cyclops is in this movie for so long, like I mentioned, because he dies. And then we're still left with, like, Wolverine and Magneto and Professor X, which is pretty cool, aside from, the fact that Professor X dies. Again, this movie killed a lot of people, which they shouldn't have. And it's kind of not that hard to see why they went with a whole reboot sort of thing with Days of Future Past. But, yeah. Let's move on, though. Oh, wait, yeah, a few other things. Colossus is in this movie, for one scene. Yeah, they really wasted him. They wasted the Sentinels. They wasted Juggernaut. Well, no, that's a lie. Juggernaut was one of the best parts of this movie. Because he was funny, he was loud, he was destructive, and he was just he was the comic relief of the movie, I think is the best way to put it. And part of that has to do with the fact that the acting is still really good. From most of our cast. Like I said, Storm, the actress, just does not care. She doesn't, the actresses who play her in the next few movies do, but in this one, she just does not care. It's kind of sad, really, when you think about it. But then again, we still have people like Hugh Jackman, who's not doing as good as the first two, but he's still doing at least decent. We have Patrick Stewart, who's being Patrick Stewart. I don't think the man has ever turned in a bad role. And we also have Ian McKellen, who's again doing a great job. So, special effects. This movie by far has the best special effects, probably because it was made in 2006, and wow, that's like almost 12 years old now, jeez. But like there's an awesome scene where Magneto lifts up the Golden Gate Bridge and moves it. It looks awesome. Costumes, awesome. Wolverine's claws, awesome. Gun effects, awesome. The fight scenes, awesome. Everything in this movie is really cool. The whole Phoenix power looks amazing. Looks a bit better in Apocalypse, but that time they kind of knew what they were doing. Everything just looks great, I'm gonna keep going though, but like, you know, the music is great, the camera work great, the lighting great, the sets great, the costumes great, but the plot is so disorganized and so unfocused that it takes what could have been the best X-Men movie yet and kneecaps it. But you know what? When it comes down to it, can I recommend X-Men 3: The Last Stand? I still can. It is not nearly as good a plot movie as the first two. It does not nearly have the same heart the first one did. It doesn't have the same smart writing and amazing plot the second one did. But you know what? It's still a good movie in its own right, and I don't see why everyone seems to hate it. Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't continue in this timeline. But at the same time, I would have been fine if they did. When it gets down to it, I have to give X-Men 3 2 ratings. 1, the traditional Raptor Claw rating, I'm giving it 2.5 Raptor Claws out of 4. But in my own opinion, I'm giving it 3.5 Raptor Claws out of 4. So you know what, you guys? If this movie was a potato, it would be a good potato. Until next time, you guys, I'm the Meteor Raptor. And until next... I keep getting my intros and outros mixed up. Sorry, until next time, keep cool, and I will see all you dino dudes around. Later!